Hey, beautiful soul. Sonia B here with DR Holistic Healer, and I am back with a couple of quick prophetic messages. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the message. And I do want to say, for those of you who are returning back to my channel, I want to say welcome back. And those of you who are new here, I want to say welcome, okay? So anyway, the first message that I received was, some of you guys, you may be around about the age of, like, let's just say 30, probably your early 30s. And the way I'm seeing this is almost kind of like you guys about to find yourself taking a journey, okay? And this journey is about love, so that you may see, that you may know, that you may understand what true love is, okay? It's a journey within. It's just what I heard. Thank you, Spirit. It's a journey about going within and understanding what true love means, because there could be people out here that tell you all day long, even some of your own family members, even if it's a situation of co-workers or people that just kind of, say that are within your circle that say that they love you in a sense. A lot of people use this word and some people misuse this word, okay? They misuse it, they abuse it in a sense, because sometimes that's what people want to hear. They want to hear that I love you, okay? But God is to a point that he's trying to reveal things to you that has been hidden underneath the surface in a sense. People can say again all day long that they love you, but remember, love is an action word, okay? So are you acting, are you showing in a sense, and not doing it in a way of and I say that to say, because if somebody say that they love you, they're not being malicious with you, okay? If somebody say that they love you, they're not lying to you. If somebody say that they love you, they being true and authentic to you, okay? So that's something to keep in mind and to remember. So as I said before, you have to remember that some of you guys are at the age now of, I don't want to say understanding is just what came to mind, thank you, Spirit, but it's almost like at every chapter of your life, where you're in your 20s, where you're in your teens, when you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on and so on, there's a different chapter that we are evolving from, that we are experiencing, because there are new lessons to learn. So some of you guys are really learning what love is truly about, okay? And you're going to be kind of comparing that from past and previous love relationships of people telling you that they love you, and you're going to be able to see what you didn't see before. So some of you are about to take that journey in a sense of really seeing what love is all about, okay? And some of you guys have already went through this phase and stage, okay? And the next message that I received was, this is about some of you guys, those of you who are on the twin flame journey, because everybody is not on this journey. So please only take the messages that resonate. If you feel like you are, then, it's not for me to tell you, but, this message is for like the twins or whatever, those who are on the twin flame journey. So the way I received this message was, it's almost like, imagine yourself kind of like being in a grocery store and you grabbing everything that you need and you want, you and your twin in a sense. So the way this came through as is almost like you're petitioning God and you put in your request into God of what you want in a sense, from God, what you want within your relationships, what you want, who you want, because some of you guys have been given a blank canvas. So I did a video on that some time ago. Some of you guys were being given a blank canvas for you to kind of like, it's almost like starting a new era, starting a new chapter. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be with? What do you want your love like to look like? What do you want your finances to look like? What do you want your what do you want your house to look like? What kind of money do you want to make in a sense? Do you want to work hard or do you want to work smart in a sense? These are all things that the Most High was just kind of telling you of, to aim higher, to aim bigger in a sense, okay? But anyway, so I say all that to say, some of you guys were again being given a blank canvas, and some of you guys are stepping more so into the role of kind of like, I just heard, thank you, Spirit, kind of like if you were somebody before who didn't necessarily step up to the plate. Maybe you had one foot in the door, maybe you had one foot out the door, but now it's almost like the Most High is kind of requiring you to step up to the plate to do more in a sense, whereas maybe before you were a little relaxed in your relationship and expecting, either your divine counterpart, whether you knew them or not, or even if this was just soulmate relationships from the past, requiring them to do all the work, and you basically sat back and done nothing, okay? So the next message that I saw was, it's almost like a switch in a rose is just what I heard. Thank you, Spirit. So the next message I received was, this was about some of you guys are feeling the month of April seems like it's almost like feeling some sort of rejection in a sense. I got that very clearly. Some sort of rejection. And for some of you, it's almost like there's a spirit, do I want to say, an entity of some kind. You have to remember that there are things that attach to us from our DNA systems from different lifetimes that may have told us, you can't do that. You can't accomplish that. You're not going to have that in a sense. And those are the things, thank you, Spirit. I just heard like self-imprisonment. So some of you guys may be hearing while you're sitting in isolation, some of you guys may be hearing like, or you're picking up on negative energy in a sense of being lied to in a sense, okay? And you have to remember that that's all it is. It's just lies. So if you guys sit there and you think about demonic forces, negative entities, or whatever the case may be, you know, they are only there to push you further, to let you know, and you have to push past that energy and say, no, that is not me, that is not who I am. It's up to you to see past it. It's up to you to get yourself out of self-deprecation, is just what I heard. It is up to you to speak life into yourself. It's nobody else to speak it for you, but it's up to you to speak yourself out of your own situation, okay? You feel like you can't do it, you're not going to be able to do it. If you feel like you're in a love relationship that get on your nerves and you keep saying it get on your nerves, you speaking those words, so it's going to continue to get on your nerves. If you speaking from a positive perspective, saying, you know what, this is a loving relationship, you know, and this relationship is, you know, it's going to last forever. I mean, this is just an example, or this is a lifelong partnership, or, you know, I got the job of my dreams, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it is that you speak, that's what it's going to be, okay? And I say all that to say that you have to realize that part of this healing journey was about a lot of people healing stuff from their DNA from previous lifetimes, you know, things, trauma, pain, and patterns and habits that they may have had in previous lifetimes that's stored up in this DNA in this lifetime. There may be some of the things that's stored up in your DNA that you maybe have not had to experience. Some of them you may had to experience in this lifetime, but you're not quite sure where the energy is coming from. That's energy from a previous lifetime in a sense, okay? So let's just say that maybe you were someone who was running things before in a previous lifetime. Now in this lifetime, it's almost seems like, not saying that the Most High is not going to have you, you know, being your highest and your best version of yourself in this lifetime, but it's more so about doing it in a healthy way. Because I just also heard too, thank you, Spirit, a lot of people have been having a false sense of empowerment, okay? False sense of empowerment. And I just heard also too, thank you, Spirit, from witchcraft, black magic, any of those things that's trying to manipulate, misuse, and misuse people in some sort of way, okay? That's a false sense of power, okay? Anyway, so I'm going to leave that part there, but also too, like I said, there's an entity or there's an energy around that's trying to basically lie to you and tell you to keep you separated from your loved ones, those who you truly care about. That's what I heard, okay? And in the end, all I heard was someone speaking and saying, so that's a good job. Someone speaking and saying that basically they're going to realize that what this person was saying was nothing more than a lie, okay? So it's like they was just trying to feed them the lie, and it's basically like it's up to you whether you choose to be spoon-fed with what information somebody is giving to you at that time, okay? Especially if it's something negative in a sense, okay? So remember, if we entertain negativity, that's what we're going to find ourselves constantly dealing with. If we entertain positivity, we're going to have positivity that comes, you know, within our life in a sense. But it's up to us to get out of the negative energy on our own, okay? Remember, this journey is about nobody holding your hand, but you doing the inner work yourself. Okay, and for some of you, it could be a situation of maybe your kids may be possibly failing. Maybe they may have took some time off of school, you know. That just depends, you know. It could be a situation, okay? So just to let some of you guys know that. But again, your kids are even choosing their own path, okay? So here's a couple of songs real quick that I also heard too that maybe some of you guys may need to hear, okay? And I say all that to say this. Beyonce has a song called Texas, okay? Her little country song or whatever. I wasn't really quite sure of this. You know, I heard my daughter playing it the other day, and it just kept kind of playing like a few days after that. And I was like, okay, God, what are you trying to tell me? Something that pertained to Texas. But then I wasn't quite sure what was coming through. But then the information that I had received was, some of you guys have to realize that Texas basically is a state that was based off their own independence, okay? They was independent from the United States at one point in time, okay? They was considered a lone spirit. So this is kind of almost what the Most High is trying to basically get some of you guys into. And then not only that, but Texas also has a profound spiritual significance behind just Texas in general in a sense. So that's something that some of you guys need to just kind of keep in mind as well too, because it's almost like the Most High is trying to get you guys to learn how to, it's kind of almost like be independent. Thank you, Spirit. Learn to be independent, okay? This doesn't mean that you may not have group settings or whatever. This is not saying that, okay? It's about learning to be independent, because when you think independently, you're not necessarily going with every, let's just say, the people that you may be around, like people that you work with, you know, in a sense, or, you know, let's just say your neighbors or people who are maybe people you have to deal with on a daily basis, even if it's just like a hi and a bye or just you walking past them or whatever. You never know what kind of energy that you may be picking up on other people in a sense, but this is more so the Most High just trying to get a lot of you out of that habit of, you know, just learning how to be in group settings in a sense. And I kept getting a word too, like some of you guys were being kicked out of a group association of some sort, of some kind, because what's happening here, two things are happening. One, it's going to be people kind of like just kicking people out because they're like, okay, you don't resonate with us anymore. And two is going to be the situation of God is pulling a lot of you out of those situations in a sense, because again, when you're evolving, it's almost like he will pull you out of situations that no longer resonates with you. And if you guys, I will be doing extended message over on TikTok in regards to that topic in a sense. Okay, so the next message, some of you guys, this is another song. Some of you guys may want to go listen to that Ashley Simpson song, A Piece of Me song. There may be a message in there for you for that, as well as Texas song. And then there was the song Africa by Toto, whatever the case may be. And some of you guys may want to go read the lyrics to that song as well too, because that's what came through as well. And then the song New Edition, Is This the End? So for a lot of people, there are going to be situations. Okay, for those people who are required in this lifetime to heal and move forward, they're going to be relationships that end, and they're going to end for good, because it's almost like, as I said before, God is kicking people out of, you know, some people being kicked out, and then there are others that God are pulling out of, whether it be relationships, jobs, whether it be, you know, marriages. It doesn't matter. Love relationships, whether it be, thank you, Spirit, whether it be situations, God is pulling you out of from these different companies, from these different entities that you may be associated with. So God is doing a lot of moving and pushing and pulling and separating people in a sense, moving people around. So keep that in mind as well too. So yes, this is an end to a lot of what no longer serves people, okay? And I know that can be a hard pill to swallow for some people, but if you learn to just kind of go with the flow, and I have an additional message. If you give me 1 second, I'm going to elaborate on that, okay? So anyway, this next message came through. This is about manifestation, right? So I say all that to say, I know a lot of people have been talking about manifestation, it seems like since 2018 or whatever, and sometimes I get tired of hearing it, but I say all that to say because I see a lot of people trying to manifest stuff from lower vibrational energy in a sense, okay? And I say all that to say, it's almost like some of you guys are going to run a path. Either you're going to run into somebody, or energetically you're going to be speaking to somebody, meaning spiritually, or it's going to be a situation of maybe somebody's going to be sharing some information with you on how to manifest something within your life to help you to move forward. And I just also heard, thank you, Spirit, for some of you guys too, that once you and your twin come into union in a sense, what's basically going to happen is you guys are going to be manifesting the life of your dreams as well too, because it's almost like the Most High has you guys separated. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? And believe it or not, it's almost like you're going to kind of be on the same accord, and you're going to find out a lot of things that you kind of wanted, you know, for yourself. And it's almost like you're going to be in agreement. You're going to be in agreement with it, because you're going to realize that you or your divine counterpart have been co-creating with the Most High all this time in a sense, okay? So a lot of this stuff is divinely orchestrated as well, okay? It's almost like God is planting a seed and letting you know, hey, well, what about this? What about this? What about that in a sense, okay? Anyway, so be mindful of that as well too. So the next message I received was, some of you guys may have a situation, whether this is somebody physically still on this earthly plane. You may hear about some people moving, and they could be moving far, in a sense, farther than, let's just say, out of state, out of the country, you know, different people, different things, you know, God is, as I said, is shifting and moving people around. And then for some of you, it's a situation of, let's just say that somebody has crossed over fairly recently, a loved one has crossed over fairly recently in a sense, and basically what's happened is almost like sometimes when you listen to music, it's almost like they're tuned into the same music that you're listening to in a sense, and it's almost like once you and your twin kind of energetically come into union, something happens spiritually with those who have crossed over to the other side. In a sense, it's almost like they're able to finally move on into have a sense of peace and rest, is just what I heard. Okay, so believe it or not, whether we're in this physical world or whether we're in the spiritual world, and our body has expired and it's time to leave this earth, sometimes people's souls can be lingering the earthly plane because there's unsettled business and unsettled situations that they didn't get a chance to finish when they were here, in a sense. So I say all that to say that it's almost like now, once once you and your twin kind of comes into union, as I said before, it's almost like you're also helping those who have crossed over, who may be just kind of wandering, because that's how I kind of saw it, like a soul was just wandering back and forth with maybe like no clothes on, just being vulnerable in a sense. Okay, and it makes it hard for them to kind of cross over. So anyway, so that's one message. The next message I receive is God is kind of giving some of you guys a choice, or whatever the case may be. Let's just say some of you guys may have been in your own way, and this is a situation of some of you, let's just say that whether you work for the government, because that's how I saw it, somebody who used to work for the government, whether they was working for the government in a sense, and let's just say that God is kind of giving them an opportunity, because let's just say that they have been kind of out there and working. And when I say working, I mean just working, just imagine working up a sweat, just working hard, trying to make things happen. So now it's to the point that it's almost like, okay, thank you, Spirit. So that person who was probably working for the government, they probably did a contract or whatever the case may be, and they had been working their ass off, get into upper management and so on and so on. Now it's just to the point, it's almost like God is trying to, what he has done with a lot of people, he is basically tearing down foundations that is not who you are, in a sense. So a lot of people have worked their way up to the top and climbed the corporate ladder just to only feel themselves kind of, falling back down. And I'm not going to necessarily falling, but it's like God is giving you an opportunity to do something different. Okay. So you're spending all your time, energy, and your effort of helping other people to build their foundations, but you yourself have not built a foundation for yourself, in a sense. See, these corporate and companies have built these foundations for themselves. So, and even if it's the government, whoever, county, state, whoever you may work for, individual company, whatever the case may be, now it's almost like God is saying, well, hey, what about you, in a sense? You've helped all these people do this. So what about you? How are you going to be good later down the road? How's your generation going to be good later down the road? How's the future generations going to be good later down the road, in a sense? Okay. So basically, it's almost like sometimes you don't have anything to leave behind for your kids, your grandkids, or your great grandkids, all because you are tied to these different institutions and corporations and so on with making them money, to the point that you don't leave anything behind for the next generation, in a sense, other than what little bit of money that you may have made. Okay. Anyway, so some of you guys are being asked to free yourself and to liberate yourself from some of these. Again, this is just a confirmation of what you already know. Okay. So it's almost like God is giving you an opportunity to free yourself. And what choice will you make? It is totally up to you. It's almost like you trusting God. Okay. It's stepping out on faith. And you guys know the tarot card deck with the fool. I don't know if some of you guys know about tarot. The tarot card deck with the fool who has a little stick and a little bag on his shoulder with the little dog walking like he's about to walk off the cliff. It's kind of almost like taking the journey of the unknown, where you have to just completely trust God. Okay. So the next message came through is some of you guys may be, you may be realizing that some of these companies are changing their names, but the company is still the same. Okay. So this is where some of you guys are going to have to, some of these institutions, a company, corporate office, businesses, or whatever the case may be, you're going to have to be mindful of this, because I just heard God say, thank you, Spirit. This is their MO, in a sense. So these people may attach themselves to your information, in a sense. And it's almost like you may find yourself be paying taxes to these people, in a sense, like yearly, because what came to mind is like, think about a timeshare. So if you're someone who kind of like has a timeshare, in a sense, it's almost like these people have your information and you're tied to them, in a sense. And what basically happens is they basically take and change your name around, but they keep your name in the system. It's almost like once people get wind of their gimmick, their scams, and their the things that they are really about, in the sense of, let's just say like, oh, well, this is your weekend, in a sense, and you can have this weekend through this month. You know how timeshares work, or whatever the case may be. It's almost like these people are kind of changing their names around, in a sense, so that you So it's almost like so they can fool the next group of people with the okey doke in a sense. So that's something to keep in mind, because your name is still within their systems, but it is important to make sure. And as I said before, remember I said that God is having you to pull your name out of their systems, because as long as your name is attached to their systems in some way, shape, or form, they are still benefiting off your energy. Once you cut ties, close out accounts, and do all that other stuff that God is requiring you to do, for those of you who He has asked to do that too, in a sense, then you're going to see that, it's almost like, again, being freed and liberated from these different people who have been benefiting off your energy, okay? Anyway, so this other message, and that's what it was, because they kind of consider you as being like a loyal customer in a sense. And the reason why they consider you as being loyal, not because you just been with them for a long time, they consider you as being a loyal customer because they know with your energy and their systems, in a sense, they benefit from that, okay? And this is where God is, again, pulling people information in their names out of these systems, but you also have to do the inner work as well too. So sometimes it may take you picking up a phone call saying, hey, I blah 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 this and blah blah that, I want you to pull my name out of your system, and so on and so on. Those are just things to keep in mind as well too, okay? But anyway, so just listen out to what God may be sharing with you in the process. Anyway, so basically, the overall message is basically that the Most High is providing you guys with an opportunity to heal the situation with your twins, in a sense. So again, if you were somebody who didn't necessarily put in the inner work, if you were somebody who didn't necessarily speak up, and if you just kind of sat back and let the other person do all the work, it's no more of that. It's almost like God is pushing you to the forefront. It's about being mature. It's about being what a real man is all about, okay? Because not only when you do that, there are going to be other people that start to follow you in the process, okay? So no more of these immature men that's running around here that's about, not saying that everybody is going to change or whatever, but it's almost like those who are choosing to do better and to raise to a higher timeline, in a sense, to do better, know better, and to be better, that message will be for them, in a sense, okay? There's also the situation of some of you guys should be mindful as well too, because I did a video on this as well too, because I know a lot of us has basically said, because on this twin flame journey, it can be harsh at times when you're doing the inner healing work, but as long as you've done like 90% of, I believe, the inner healer work or whatever, the Most High basically will kind of move people forward. But here's the thing, where you have to continue to do the inner healing work together then at that point physically, okay? Because right now, energetically, a lot of us is doing it separately. And whether you are someone who is reconciling, or whether you're someone who is with a twin, you know who your twin is, but you haven't necessarily came into union with them yet, okay? So the other thing to keep in mind as well too, because there are going to be other people that are being presented with a choice, and I already gave you guys information on soulmates, in a sense. People have the opportunity, and I know so many of us have said, oh, well, I'll take a soulmate, because if I got to deal with all this stuff with the twin, in a sense, at one point in time, yes, it does get like that, but then you go right back to them like, oh my God, like, I cannot get this person out of my head, or this person will always be a part of you, in a sense. And so let's just say, truth be told, that even if a person decides to take a soulmate, in a sense, you will always long for your twin. So therefore, if you'll go into a relationship, and what's going to happen is you're going to be in a relationship with somebody else, but that relationship is not going to be to its fullest, because what's going to happen is you're going to always think about that other person, okay? You're going to always think about that other person. You're going to always feel what that other person feel. You're going to always know what's going on with that other person. So that's almost like living a double life, okay? So even though your soulmate may not know about it, you know about it, and to be honest with you, some soulmates will know about it, and that's just going to cause more problems and more drama. And just what I just heard is the soulmate relationship is more so of a lower vibrational, it's not necessarily low, but it's more of a low vibrational relationship opposed to a twin flame relationship, which is high vibrational, okay? Because anytime you can move things spiritually, for those people who have crossed over, that says a lot. You can't do that with the soulmate relationship, okay? Where things will shift and turn, okay? And energetically, to say that when you move and make decisions, that it's almost like it affects other people around you, in a sense. So help people to move forward. So that's a lot of energy, and that's a lot of power behind that, okay? Something to keep in mind. So anyway, I say all that to say, and some of you guys have to realize too, that being with a soulmate can also make you sick as well too. And I say all that to say, because you will long for your twin, of them not being there in your life, in a sense, and that in itself can make you sick. You have to realize that your twin is there because you're the other half. If you think about actual physical twins that are being that are at birth in a sense. When one doesn't feel well, the other one can feel it in a sense. So therefore, if the other one kind of takes on whatever the other one is feeling in a sense, and that in a sense can kind of cause a problem. So just keep in mind that your twin is there to help you to heal in some sort of way, and that twin provides healing in a sense, where your soulmate relationship does not provide healing, okay? And I mean like physical healing, okay? So I say all that to say that basically the Most High is trying to get you guys to your highest and your greatest timeline. You know, God is just trying to show you that, hey, I want you to have good health, good wealth, vitality. You know, I want you to be blessed beyond your measures in a sense. I want you to step into who I intended you to be, not who you think that you should be. See, because climbing those corporate ladders is everything that you want it to be. And that's not what God wanted you to be, but God had to allow you to climb that ladder so you can see that, hey, there's a top here. You can't go any further. Whereas unlike you allow God to lead you, it's infinite, okay? There's nonstop. There is no cap, okay? So I say all that to say that the other thing was, okay, so a lot of you, it's almost like the Most High is requiring you to put your best foot forward. You know, a lot of you guys may not have moved with integrity and values before in a sense. Some of you may have had a little bit of that, but it's almost like you was living a double life, living two different, you know, trying to have your cake and trying to eat it too in a sense. And it's almost like the Most High is trying to let you know, no, when you come into union, whether it's a situation with your divine feminine or your divine masculine in a sense, you know, you're going to come in correct in a sense, especially if it's a divine feminine. In a sense, it's almost like God is like, and when I say divine feminine, let me be clear, okay? A divine feminine is somebody who's doing the inner work. There's divine feminine archetype, and then there is a feminine energy, okay? And I say all that to say that because the feminine energy, she is someone who can try to emulate the divine feminine, okay? And that's how a lot of people had got bamboozled in food and tricked on this journey because they thought, oh my God, she's the one. And turns out that she actually was not the one, okay? But again, that was nothing more than the training that the Most High was trying to take you through, because he was trying to show you where's your heart lie, in a sense, okay? So I say all that to say, let me give you this quick message which came through today. I tell you, God be on good. God be so good when he give this message. I meant to say, it says Christ superior to Moses, okay? And it says, for every house is built by some man, okay? So every house is built by some man, okay? Physically it's built by some man. But he that built all things is God. And God is basically trying to help you to build a solid and a firm and a stable foundation. Because as I said before, there's a scripture in the Bible, not sure of the hand, but it says something of the nature when a man builds his house, it's like that's not on a solid foundation. It's like building his house on sand in a sense that it can crumble and fall. But when you build your house on a sturdy and a solid foundation, it can withstand the winds, the water, and anything possible. Okay, so that's important to remember as well too. But this also is another message as well too. It talked about disobedient generation. Okay, and God gave me this one also too. Okay, so the disobedient generation, it says, I'm sorry, I didn't even give you the first verse. So Hebrews 3:4 was the first one. It says, for every house is built by some man, but he that buildeth all things is God, okay? And then the second one is Hebrews 3:7. It says, Hebrews 3:10. It says disobedient generation, okay? It says, wherefore I was grieved with the generation and said, let me go up one before then. It says, so this is Hebrews 3:9. When your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my works 40 years. So in case you guys forgot, if you don't remember that God's people wandered in the desert for 40 years, okay? 40 years, okay? And there's a lot of people who are still wandering even in this lifetime. We're not in those days now, but there's still a lot of people who have been wandering, and even in this lifetime. It says in 10, Hebrews 3:10 says, wherefore I was grieved with your generation and said, they do away error in their hearts, and they have not known my ways. So this is basically God trying to get you to know and to understand his ways, okay? His way is not going to be everybody's ways. And when I say that, because either you're going to follow his ways or you're not going to follow his ways. And when you don't follow his ways, it's almost like you're saying that you're willing to follow the world, okay? So remember, God said to be in the world and not of the world. But there's also another scripture as well that says too, that no man can serve two masters. So some of you guys have been having a little bit of dib and dab corporate world. And some of you guys been having a little bit of different dabbing in the spiritual world in a sense, okay? And God said you can't serve two masters, for either you're going to serve one and hate the other one, and that's just is what it is, okay? You can't serve two masters, okay? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end that there, but I wish you all much love, much light until the next message. Bye.